Listen. That's a chair, scraping across cobblestone as a cafe owner sets out his morning terrace. Somewhere behind him, an oven door creaks open, and the smell of fresh bread rolls out into a narrow medieval alley still soaked in blue dawn light. Church bells count out the hour over rooftops that haven't changed in 300 years. France doesn't introduce itself. It doesn't have to. From candlelit bridges over the Seine to lavender fields baking under a Provençal sun, from wind-battered cliffs in Brittany to snow-capped alpine summits, this is a country that packs staggering contrast into one compact shape, a shape the French themselves call the hexagon. Almost 68 million people call this hexagon home. Some live in centuries-old chateaux turned into working farms. Others live behind wrought iron balconies on tree-lined Parisian boulevards. Still others live in villages so small that the church steeple is the only thing you can see for miles. But here's the real question: what does it actually feel like to live here, not visit, not photograph, but wake up here, raise a family here, grow old here? Forget the postcard. Forget the Eiffel Tower lit up at midnight. Somewhere in Lyon, a woman has bought her bread from the same bakery for 40 years. In Marseille, a fisherman still reads tomorrow's weather in the shape of tonight's clouds. In Burgundy, a winemaker can taste a single hillside in a glass of wine and tell you exactly where the grapes grew. This is their France. France is the largest country in Western Europe, running from the cold waters of the English Channel to the warm Mediterranean coast, from Atlantic surf to the Alpine wall in the east. Stand on the summit of Mont Blanc, nearly 4,800 meters up, the highest point in Western Europe, and on a clear day you can see into 3 countries at once. The air up there is thin and startlingly clean. Below, glaciers grind slowly through ancient rock, utterly indifferent to human time. Now drop down 600 kilometers southwest, and the landscape changes completely. The Dordogne River curls lazily through limestone cliffs riddled with prehistoric caves. In the Vézère Valley, people were painting bison and horses on stone walls while mammoths still roamed outside. The Lascaux cave paintings are roughly 17,000 years old, and the river still bends the same way it did back then. And that's just the start. Volcanic peaks rise from the country's center like a stone spine. Down south, the wetlands of the Camargue look almost African, with white horses running through shallow salt marshes and flamingos wading in pink-tinged lagoons. Add over 3,000 kilometers of coastline, granite cliffs in Brittany, endless dunes in the southwest, crowned by the tallest sand dune in Europe, and you start to understand why the French say you could ski in the Alps, drive through lavender in Provence, and swim in the Mediterranean, all in a single day. This isn't just scenery. It's the foundation for everything else: the food, the houses, the work, the rhythm of life itself. The French day starts early but moves slowly, almost like a ritual. In Lyon, France's gastronomic capital, a baker named Stéphane has opened his shop at 4 a.m. for 32 years straight. By the time the doors open at 7, his baguettes are already cooling on wire racks, golden and still steaming. His first customer buys the same thing every single day: bread made from nothing but flour, water, salt, and yeast, a recipe actually protected by French law. No receipt, no small talk. Just a small, sacred routine. That rhythm rolls across the whole country like a wave. Paris commuters move through the metro with practiced efficiency. Outdoor markets open under striped awnings, tomatoes stacked into pyramids, wheels of cheese sweating in the morning heat, olives glistening in barrels of brine. Then, around midday, the country simply stops. Lunch in France is protected territory. Offices close for 90 minutes, sometimes 2 hours. In Bordeaux, co-workers gather at a corner bistro for duck confit and wine, not as a luxury, but as a quiet, expected part of the meal. In Provence, afternoons go hush. Between 2 and 4, shutters close against the sun, cicadas fall silent, and the only sounds are a distant tractor or a pigeon shuffling under the eaves. Then evening arrives, and it belongs to the family. Dinner comes earlier up near the German border in Strasbourg, later down in Nice. The table is set properly: plates, glasses, cutlery arranged with real care. No rushing. This isn't nostalgia. It's a value system built into daily life, that living well matters more than moving fast. To understand how the French live, you have to understand where they live, because in France, a home is never just four walls. It's a statement about heritage and belonging. In the Alsatian village of Colmar, half-timbered houses painted in soft pinks, blues, and yellows lean toward each other over cobblestone streets. These aren't tourist sets, families have lived in them for generations, running a flower shop or wine cellar downstairs while 3 generations share dinner upstairs around a table that's outlasted 2 world wars. Travel south to Provence, and everything changes. The traditional mas, a thick-walled stone farmhouse with small windows and a terracotta roof, was built centuries ago to fight off summer heat with nothing but architecture. Some walls in the Luberon region are a full meter thick, keeping rooms cool even in August, with cypress trees standing guard along the driveway and a swimming pool tucked somewhere among the lavender. In Paris, space itself is the luxury. The classic Haussmann apartment, named after the baron who redesigned the city in the 1800s, follows a strict layout, grand street-facing rooms with tall windows and iron balconies, and a small kitchen tucked toward the back. Apartments near the Eiffel Tower can sell for over €20,000 per square meter, yet the kitchens stay modest. Priorities here are different. French families also tend to stay geographically close. It's common for 3 generations to live within 20 kilometers of each other, grandchildren still picking apples from trees their great-grandparents planted. There's a French word for this deep connection between land and identity, terroir. It's used to describe wine, how soil, climate, and tradition shape a Burgundy's character, but the French apply the same idea to themselves. A Norman isn't a Provençal. A Breton isn't an Alsatian. Where you're from isn't an accident. It's who you are. No story about France can skip its most famous export, because here, food isn't fuel. It's philosophy. In Burgundy, near the town of Beaune, hillsides have grown Pinot Noir and Chardonnay since medieval monks first mapped every shift in soil and sunlight. A winemaker today can walk his vineyard and taste the difference between 2 rows just 20 meters apart, not showing off, just carrying 8 centuries of inherited knowledge. Down in Marseille, a port city founded by Greek traders over 2,600 years ago, the food tells a different story. The city's famous fish stew started as a poor fisherman's meal, made from whatever catch was too bony or ugly to sell. Today it's served in restaurants with sea views, rich with saffron and orange peel, but it still tastes like salt spray and hard days on the water. French meals follow their own quiet rules. A small breakfast, bread with butter and jam. Lunch as the main event. A lighter dinner. And cheese always comes before dessert, never after, treated less like a course and more like a pause for reflection. Even outside fine dining, the culture holds. A construction worker in Nantes will still sit down to a proper 3-course lunch with real cutlery. School children are taught to eat a starter, main, cheese, and dessert, in that order, without rushing. In the Dordogne, a market in Sarlat-la-Canéda has sold the same walnuts, duck confit, and ash-rolled goat cheese in the same square for over 500 years. Food here is the thread linking past to present, region to region, family to family, because how you eat says everything about how you live. France runs the 7th largest economy on Earth, leading the world in aerospace, luxury goods, nuclear energy, and agriculture, but its relationship with work is complicated, caught between real ambition and a fierce protection of life outside the office. In Toulouse, Europe's aerospace capital, Airbus engineers assemble airplane wings inside hangars so massive that clouds have reportedly formed near the ceiling. A single misplaced rivet could mean disaster at 35,000 feet, the pride in that precision is impossible to miss. But France's most iconic export isn't an aircraft, it's luxury itself. Fashion houses across Paris employ tens of thousands of artisans, some hand-stitching a single leather bag for up to 48 hours straight. Waiting lists stretch for years, and yet production never speeds up. These artisans work at the pace of quality, not commerce. The legal workweek here is 35 hours, a policy from the year 2000 that still confuses outsiders, and workers get 5 weeks of paid vacation, which they actually take. Every August, Paris practically empties out. Meanwhile, the countryside keeps the country fed, the plains south of Paris grow wheat that becomes baguettes worldwide, and Normandy's dairy farms produce camembert under strict regional rules, so strict that cheese failing to meet them legally can't even use the name. It's a paradox economy, home to ruthless luxury tycoons and one of the most generous social safety nets on the planet, universal healthcare, near-free university, strong worker protections. Taxes are high. But for most people living here, it's a trade worth making. France is officially secular, a separation of church and state written into law back in 1905. But to understand how the French actually gather, you still need to check the calendar, because old traditions never really left. In Brittany, the Fest Noz, or Night Festival, began as a harvest celebration where farmers danced in barns to bagpipes. Today, in towns like Quimper, hundreds of people, teenagers and grandparents alike, still link arms and dance in circles on the cobblestones, keeping the Breton language and identity alive after decades of suppression. Down in Nice, Carnival season turns the city into 2 weeks of color and noise every February, giant papier-mâché floats mocking politicians, flower battles filling the streets with the scent of mimosa and rose. It's theatrical, sharp, and unmistakably Mediterranean. But maybe the most important tradition is the simplest, the village fete, held in thousands of small communes every summer. Tables set under plane trees. The mayor gives a short speech. Someone plays an accordion badly. Wine from the local co-op, sausage from the neighborhood butcher, cake from the woman who runs the post office. Nothing spectacular happens, and yet everything that matters does. The French also treat the café as a kind of public square, a place built for argument as much as coffee. In the literary cafés of Saint-Germain-des-Prés, philosophers once debated existentialism. Today the topic might be football or the price of bread, but the intensity, the belief that being part of society means engaging loudly with it, hasn't gone anywhere. France isn't a postcard, and everyday life here comes with real strain. There's a phrase for one of them, la diagonale du vide, the empty diagonal, a stretch of rural territory from the northeast down to the southwest where population has quietly drained away. Villages have lost their schools, post offices, cafés. Young people leave for Toulouse, Bordeaux, Paris, and often don't come back. In some hamlets, the average resident is now over 60. A different struggle plays out in the suburbs ringing major cities. In places like Clichy-sous-Bois near Paris, high-rise housing built in the 1960s and 70s for immigrant workers has become a symbol of exclusion, high unemployment, stretched services, barely 15 kilometers from central Paris but feeling like another country entirely. Cost of living adds more pressure. A tiny 25 square meter Paris studio can rent for over €1,000 a month, pushing young professionals into shared apartments well into their 30s. Farmers face their own squeeze, milk prices that sometimes fall below the cost of producing it, along with mountains of regulation. In recent years, farmer protests have shut down highways across the country. And strikes in general have become almost seasonal here, transport workers, teachers, students, all taking to the streets when they feel unheard. It's disruptive, sure. But it's also a sign of a democracy that's still very much alive, still negotiating its own terms. France lives in a constant back and forth between its past and its future. Along the Loire Valley, Renaissance chateaux like Chenonceau rise out of the morning mist, the pleasure palaces of kings, now carefully preserved for tourists. But look closer at the surrounding village of Amboise, where Leonardo da Vinci spent his final years, and it's no museum. Farmers still sell produce in the town square. Teenagers scroll their phones outside school. An electric car charges quietly beside a 500-year-old fountain. This mix of old and new isn't always smooth. The same country that runs 300 km/h TGV trains between Paris and Lyon also requires bakeries to register with the government before taking a vacation, just to guarantee bread stays available in every town. The same nation leading Europe in nuclear energy still has villages where the weekly hunt is treated with near-religious seriousness. Meanwhile, Paris's Station F, the largest startup campus on Earth, built inside a converted railway depot, now houses over 1,000 young tech companies, part of a genuine renaissance in French innovation. Some who left for London or Silicon Valley are quietly moving back, pulled by a quality of life no stock package can replace. But out in small towns, Parisians buying up old stone houses are driving up prices, and some long-time locals worry something authentic is getting diluted in the process. France isn't picking between tradition and modernity, it's trying to hold both at once, uneasily, and maybe that attempt is the most French thing about it. So why do people stay? Through the taxes, the bureaucracy, the strikes, the long winters and brutal summers. Nearly 68 million people still call this place home, and part of the answer lives in the Provençal village of Roussillon, perched on ochre cliffs that turn blood red at sunset. A woman in her 70s waters geraniums on her terrace. She's lived in that house for 52 years. Her kids have scattered to Lyon, Paris, London. She stays because the light here is softer, filtered through centuries of limestone dust. She stays because the baker still remembers her name, and every evening when she walks to the square, someone always raises a hand in greeting. The French have a phrase for this, l'art de vivre, the art of living. It isn't something you can buy. It's built from small things, good bread, an unhurried meal, an afternoon spent doing nothing on purpose. Life here isn't meant to be optimized. It's meant to be savored. Then there's the land itself, a rootedness the French call enracinement, almost impossible to explain to people from more mobile places. The Burgundian winemaker working his grandfather's vines. The Breton fisherman navigating the same currents his family always has. It's the quiet belief that where you're from shapes who you become, and that leaving, even for more money, means losing something you can't get back. The smell of bread on a cold Strasbourg morning. Waves against Normandy cliffs. Warm stone underfoot on a summer evening in the Luberon. None of it sounds like much on paper. But add it up over a lifetime, and it becomes something worth staying for. So, if you woke up tomorrow somewhere in France, a Paris apartment, a Provençal farmhouse, a cottage on the Breton coast, where would you choose? Drop one word below.